Okay, so this was on worksheet 9.4. You said you needed help on number 2C and 2I. All right, so this is the 2C, the equation for 2C that is on the screen. So what we're going to do is, first we have to solve one side of the equation. There's nothing to solve over here, so we can just leave that there. So with this, we're going to use the distributive property. So that means we're going to distribute this number amongst both of these add-ins here. And the reason I know that is because we have a number right beside the parentheses, and that means multiplication. So 5 times x gives you 5x, and then plus, and then 5 times 2 gives you 10, and then we're just going to bring this down. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to combine like terms. Okay, so we have an x over here and we have an x over here. Those are like terms. So that means we need to get this over here. That would be, or you can get this over here, but if you do that, then you're not going to have anything over here. So we're going to go ahead. Now this is a positive 5x because it doesn't tell us it's a negative. So to get rid of a positive, you have to do a negative. So we're going to subtract 5x from both sides. Okay, this cancels each other out because that's a positive 5x and a negative 5x. This just undoes it. It's gone. So we're left with a positive 10, which we don't need the plus sign because remember, it's just understood to be plus or positive. So bring our 10. So 10 equals, and then we can actually solve this because these are like terms. You can only solve them when they're like terms. So 15 minus 5 gives us 10x. Okay, remember the goal, the ultimate goal is to get the variable by itself on one side of the equation. So in order to undo this and get x by itself, what we're going to have to do is going to divide both sides by 10. And that cancels this 10 out. Okay, it doesn't cancel the x out because you can't just add that x in there. Okay, so that means that, let's turn it back around. So x is by itself, so x equals 10 over 10, or 10 divided by 10 gives you 1. So then x would equal 1. I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, so then look at, let's see, I says solve 4x plus 8. Equals 2x. Okay, so I'm not going to do this problem with you. I want you to do this one yourself, but basically this one is exactly like this one right here. So we didn't have to do, so in other words, this problem here had one extra step. We had to solve this side first, but then once we solved it, we were left with 5x plus 10 equals 15x. Well, it's the same thing as over here. So now what you're going to do is you're going to do what we did, and we're going to combine like terms. Like terms means look for the numbers that have the same variables because those are like terms. So that means that you can take 4x and you can subtract it from both sides. Now, that means you're going to have a negative number over here. So you're going to end up working with negative numbers. So let me help you work through this, and I don't want you to get confused on it. So let's subtract 4x. And what that does is that cancels this out. And the reason that the x is canceled out is because we're canceling out 4x. We're moving 4x. Over here, it was a different story because, or where was it? It was right here because we were not dividing by 10x. We were just simply dividing by 10. That's why it's a different story. All right, so whatever we do on this side has to go on this side. So let's subtract 4x. And let's solve our problem. We're left with positive 8 equals, now, what is 2 minus 4x? Okay, now we're going to have, let's see, we're left with 2x equals 8. I'm sorry. That's going to be, I'm looking at the wrong problem. Negative 2x. Yes, I'm sorry. This will be negative 2x. Yes. because we have to use the one that's the biggest, and 4 is the biggest. Okay, so we're left with that. So then what we're going to do is you are going to take 2x. We need to divide 2 by -2 on both sides because we have to do the opposite. This is multiplication. So in order to undo it, we have to do divide. So that cancels this out. And then we're left with, we'll just turn it around so it's a little bit easier. So we're left with x by itself here. So x equals 8 divided by -2, which gives you a -4. Okay. I get confused sometimes when I'm working with negatives. Those are easy to get confused with. Okay, I hope you understand that. If you're still having trouble with it, let me know. And we'll stop for a little while and we'll work on this stuff before we move on. So I don't want you to move on if you're having trouble with any of these sections. So you'll just need to let me know. All right.